I want to give you some illustrations about what I'm talking about with the press. And it's not new news that most of the mainstream press are deceivers. I'm in media, okay? I've been in media since 1989. In addition to all of my pro-life political activism, all the jail time that I've done, all the speeches and appearances, I've been broadcasting since 1989 on radio or television for most of those years and done tons of interviews on other people's shows, all right? I've been on the ground. I've interviewed big shots. I have an agenda. I have an agenda. I admit it. My agenda is to see truth prevail, to call balls and strikes. And truth is given to us by God, the Almighty, with a capital T, the laws of God. I want to see that prevail in the public square. And I admit I have my agenda. Guys like George Stephanopoulos, Brian Williams, these guys are deceivers. They are, in some cases, evildoers by how they craft the questions and what they're after, how they're trying to throw a frag bomb, a little hand grenade into the room. Listen to this. This is a small itty-bitty illustration, but I laughed when I saw it. This is Reuters by Emily Stevenson. I don't know that I've had the pleasure of meeting her. And she quotes, "He's not taking any guff from anybody." Dewey Stedman, 70, a Republican from East Wenatchee, Washington, said, that was a long way of saying that a voter, a 70-year-old Republican man said that. And then she said of the publicity-loving billionaire. If you don't have something in your brains, you're not going to have billions of dollars. So she took this quote and then she said of Donald Trump, the publicity-loving billionaire. She could have said the front runner. She could have said the Republican front runner for president. She could have said the successful businessman. Instead, she said publicity loving. Maybe, Emily, maybe that's really not what it's about on this particular situation. That's editorializing. That's you throwing mud at him. How can her editors not catch this? How can any of us trust them? All right, so here's the New York Times. This is really funny. New York Times reported that Trump may be more than a summer fling. This was written by somebody at the Washington Post about an article in the New York Times, okay? So we get the best of both worlds here. Trump may be more than a summer fling, to the chagrin of Republican Party leaders. The businessman, quote, has built a broad, demographically and ideologically diverse coalition constructed around personality, not substance. Go to the hot place, New York Times. How do you know that it's just about his personality and not substance? What is it? Is that the substance that you approve of? Did I just say go to the hot place? Can I say that was probably unkind of me? I'm sorry. I don't want the entire paper to go there. I really don't. Constructed around personality, not substance, that bridges demographic and political divides. In doing so, he has effectively insulated himself from the consequences of startling statements that might instantly doom rival candidates, the paper wrote, pointing out that Trump leads among Republican women, evangelical Christians, moderates, college-educated voters. He also leads among likely and frequent voters. Do you understand what this means? Do you get it? Forget the other candidates for a minute. And maybe the New York Times should go to the hot place because that's where a lot of their stories are born, okay? Trump is leading in every corner of the base that matters. I saw a poll over the weekend. He's stomping the others with evangelical Christians. He's got more than twice the support of Michael Huckabee. Michael Huckabee is an evangelical pastor. And Trump is beating him by more than 2-to-1 margin among evangelicals. Okay? If you look at these polls that are out there, the other candidates are in crisis mode. And they don't know what to do. But I'll give the New York Times and poor Miss Emily Stevenson from Reuters and this guy from the Washington Times, or the Washington Post, I'll give you all a clue. In fact, here's a quarter. Let me find a quarter, and I'll let you buy a clue. Hold on. I'm not sure if I've got a quarter on me. Oh, I have. I've got 2 pennies. I'll give you my 2 cents worth, okay? Donald Trump is surging ahead because of the unthinkable rage the undescribable rage that so many Americans feel towards illegal immigration, towards bad press and unethical reporters like you. He's surging ahead because he's tapped into the anger towards political correctness. He's tapped into the anger against the Republican machine, the Republican Party in Washington, D.C., that promises us one thing and doesn't deliver. He's tapped into that anger. And because he says things that are politically incorrect, things that you reporters say when you're with your friends, huh? You call people names. Yeah, you do. He says it publicly. And then people say, well, we all talk like that to some degree or another. We'll give him a pass. Yeah, I really don't like that woman. I can see how I could call her a name. It's like he's doing us all a service to tear down the politically correct nonsense that has shackled us and made people afraid to hear and to say the truth. One last thing. I got to go. I get to Hillary and Biden. I don't trust Trump. I don't trust him. He's wrong on, so far he's wrong on Planned Parenthood. I want to hear him way more clearly on key social issues. But what he's done is he has paved the way for someone like Ted Cruz or Scott Walker, or please heaven forbid Jeb Bush, but he's paved the way for Alan Keyes someday. If I'm called, I'll serve. To be able to say the truth. To say the truth and not be apologetic. And when a twitty little media reporter, a little twitty reporter gets in your face, to tell him, no, you're wrong. Excuse me. I've done that before. And I love watching him do it because I've done it. I gotta go. I gotta talk about Hillary and Biden when we come back. Don't go away.